Hi guys, hope everybody is doing good and you're enjoying your weekend. Sorry I missed a video last week. Was just a little busy, but we had a pretty interesting week. We have a lot coming up, and what a way to start 2023. So let's just get right into it and see what we have coming up, and especially with a lot of these earnings coming up, there's going to be quite a bit of volatility, or we could actually be getting chopped around for the next 2 weeks as well. So anything is possible. Play the price action. All right, let's get into. Okay, so we have quite a bit of big names reporting as well this coming week. And one, everybody's eyes is going to be on Tesla and Microsoft. So if these two are giving bad guidance or they miss the earnings, that will affect the market. But again, also lately, the bad news has been good news where we've seen market take off, and where good news has been bad news where we've seen market dump. So anything is possible. Again, just play your price action. Don't get a FOMO. If you miss it, you miss it. Don't worry about it. So we have Microsoft coming up and Tesla, also Boeing. If you notice, if you go back on your chart, Boeing has been leading so far the market up till now, but things might be changing soon. So and keep an eye on Boeing chart as well. And then we have MasterCard, and I believe Visa is after close. Yes. So on Thursday, we got Visa and MasterCard, and we also have a CPI reporting as well. And then we got some of the oils also being reported on Friday. But main is we should be able to figure out where we are going, especially once Microsoft and Tesla and Boeing, their earnings come out. So keep these things in mind when you are trading, and especially with any of the news coming out as well. So let's look at what we have. This week, I believe we have CPI on Thursday. Well, let's see. So we got the per capita coming out, initial jobless claims on Thursday. Am I on the right week? Yes, I am. All right, so we have quite a bit of all this next week as well, then the PCE numbers as well. So looking at the data model that gave us last year, based on that, CPI has to come for the next 7 months. It has to come lower than what they projected. So if any time CPI comes higher than that, their data model goes out of the window. Where they are thinking that by sometime in August, we should be seeing inflation declining into the 3 to 2 numbers, which it has to, if I do the calculations right, then for the next 7 to 8 months, that CPI has to come down very low, whatever they project has to come down lower than that. And that would also mean is economy is slowing down, and we are either, the recession that they're trying to avoid will be full-blown recession, or but there will be a slowdown in economy if the CPI continues to come lower for them to bring the inflation down. To bring the inflation down, you need to have the economy slow down. So all those things kind of in hand. But keep these things in mind, please, when you are trading, especially if you're scalping or day trading, anytime these newses are about to come out, make sure you are not in a trade that does not have enough time on it, because it can really, if you could be on the right side of it based on your, but if the news is taken positively or negatively, depending on the side of position you are, it can really affect your trade. These numbers keep these times in mind. All right, so let's look at some of the charts that we have. I'm going to get to this in a minute, but before that, let's go to SPY. I did clean up a lot of my charts. I actually have a couple things that I would love for you guys to put some alerts on. And I think some are really good reversals. So even though, yeah, we are in a downtrend, these run-ups are really hard when you are holding long-term puts. It's not easy to go through these bull runs. But again, there's always tickers that are gonna be running that have some sort of bottom is already in for those ones. So I went through a couple of my list, and I will definitely be sharing with those with the ones that I am looking at. So would love for you guys to put some alerts on and follow and see how they turn out. All right, for SPY, we rejected on this trend line on Wednesday pretty hard, and then we are right now sitting right at the 200 moving average. So if and I'll go over the futures chart as well too quickly, so we can see there is a possibility that if we reclaim 397 and 400, we could continue and test the 409, 410 area as well. We could have this fake out. That is very much a possibility on the table, unless we get some sort of a news and we are tanking to the downside of it. So right now, all I want you guys to do is pay attention to what your charts are telling you. Don't just go based on, just because you are bearish, be bearish. No, pay attention to what the chart is saying. So on SPY, clearly gonna be watching tomorrow's candle, how we react to it, how we end up. And also, if you remember from a couple videos back, I have talked about it. Anytime the 15th of the month that falls in our week, we tend to have a weekly candle to be a red. So if we go to our weekly candle, we did have actually pretty red candle up till Thursday and Friday once we started to come back up, but still for the weekly we did finish with the red candle. So always remember that time of the month that you are in as well, what kind of volatility, what kind of price action you can see. Again, history tend to repeat, so all you have to do is just look to the left and you will get a lot of your answers. So for SPY, I am first watching how it reacts to 397 and then 400. And then to the downside, I am giving myself extra room, not just making a decision based on losing 392. I want to see a candle close below 388, and I want to see an engulfing, bearish engulfing candle to take this out, and then see how we then continue to react to the lower levels. So those are the things that I am watching on SPY. And then if we go down to SPX as well, and actually, let me go to the weekly. You could actually see, anybody could say that, hold on, actually, marked it on the, yes, on the daily, that this could also be an inverse head and shoulder, right? So, and we know inverse head and shoulders can be bullish, but again, patterns can be taken out at any time. So make sure you are paying attention to the price action, but you cannot also ignore that we could have this inverse head and shoulder as well. So for on SPX, you want to watch to see how we react to 3980 or 4000 has been a very strong wall for SPX to break. However, if we do start to break and then your upside is 40, 40, 40, 40, 60, 40, 80, and so on and so on. However, if we start to break below, we are currently in between 250 moving average. I want to see it lose 3,900 with a solid candle and hold. If it is having hard time, then I would say making a decision on taking any swings for a longer term or shorter term, I would wait and let it figure out which way it wants to go. So now let's look at the futures chart. Sorry, I've just been playing around with colors, and this seems like I picked a very dark yellow color here. Okay, so on the daily, we had created on Wednesday, and then with Thursday's open low, we had created this massive fair value gap, which on Friday we ended up filling almost a 50%, if not a little bit more than a 50% on it. So we still have this tiny bit fair value gap left on the futures. We could open today and complete this. And where you want to pay attention to is 4,000 level. And if we are breaking above 4,000, we do have an order block sitting right here as well. And so this area is where then if we continue, that means on your SPY, you're looking at 400 to 402 area as well. And then we have weekly order block, but we also have weekly volume imbalance on the future side of it as well. So if we are pulling back, this is what I want to watch on the futures is 3,900. If we are breaking below 3,900, then we got a couple fair value gaps to the downside. And then we have another weekly volume imbalance as well at 3,875. And if we do decide to fill this and market continues, we do have another order block sitting here as well. So this is what I have on the futures. But now let's look at Dixie as well. I know I've talked a lot about dollar, that it is how it's really been hand in hand with SMPX, and you can see how market's been moving. So we've had this trend line or this kind of a channel that we've been following pretty closely. So if you look and you were trading on Friday and you were trying to short, look at the dollar was completely giving you a signal that market was going to continue to the upside. Anytime dollar pulls back like this, we do have those run ups on SPY. And same thing, if I go back to Wednesday, you can see Wednesday we had a very nice run up as well, and then we pulled back. And then Thursday we had that pull up, even though we pulled back initially, and then we ended up pulling up, and then there was a little bit of a chop. So do pay attention to where our dollar is as well, and go down to the 15-minute. I know I pulled up the 1 hour, but definitely go down to the 15-minute and you can see clearly what's happening there as well. All right, let's look at VIX and go to the daily. And you can see this trend line was held very nicely. So if market does want to push back up, and you want to watch to see if this VIX is going to break below, or we're going to continue to hold this trend line. But then for us, we need to break above these two resistance levels. And if we can, then definitely we'll see that pullback on the market, and this will continue to the upside. And then the other thing is US our 2-year and our 10-year are still in pretty much in a bull flag. So if you look right here, we are still in very much of a bull flag is being held. We're actually at the bottom of it right here. So if 2-year and 10-year decide to run up, you will definitely see that pullback in the market as well. So this is my 10-year. And the other one was the 2 years. So we are still holding. I consider this to be, we are in a flag. So that's what I have it here. Then the other thing is you want to pay attention to NASDAQ. I feel like that NASDAQ might have already made its top, and NASDAQ might be the one give us a little bit indication, a little bit earlier than maybe ES or SPY will do it. So what I want to watch and see is on NASDAQ, how we react to these two levels right here, 11,734 or 11,760 area. If we take out of this with a beautiful engulfing candle and we continue upside, then we know that ES and S&P will continue to follow as well. A majority of the time it does. So then we have our next level on NASDAQ as well. However, if we do start to pull back, if NASDAQ starts to pull back, a majority of the time you'll see ES and SPY will follow as well. And then we have a supply to the downside right here in 11,500 area. So something to definitely watch NASDAQ when you are deciding on which way the market is going. All right, so before I jump into the tickers that I want us to be watching, but can I quickly go over some of the things that I pulled for S&P 500. This is the 50-day moving average. How many tickers are 500 stocks that are above the 50-day moving average? So you can see we usually end up rejecting the 76 area level, or the 92 has been the highest. But majority of the time, this is where we end up rejecting 77. We almost lost the 200 moving average on Thursday, but we reclaimed it on Friday on a lot of the tickers. That means 500 stocks. Almost we reclaimed this 200 moving average, and we ended up with this very nice green candle. However, if we start to fall below right here, then there is a lot more room to the downside of it as well. So something to watch. Still has a little bit more room to the upside that we could go back and test, but we'll see. And this is for 500 stocks. And then this is for the 500 stocks for a 5-day moving average. And as you can see, our top seems to be at 98.20 for 5-day moving average. We are currently right at 200 moving average. So I want to see there is still a little bit more room. So which also lines up with our S&P, our futures, and with our NASDAQ, that we have a little bit more room that we could continue to the upside as well. All right, and this is the 200. So again, we're very close to being topped off on the 200 as well. And this is 500 stocks for 20-day average. And this one also has a little bit more room as well. And this is the NASDAQ 100 stocks. And as I said, NASDAQ seems like is pretty much topped off. And as you can see on the NASDAQ side, we have a very tiny bit of room left that we could be topping off on the NASDAQ earlier. And then on the Russell, also, you know, it has a little bit brightening room for me. What I think I think Russell has those small tickers, definitely has more room to the upside. And that's what I actually have today that I'm going to be going over on the bullish side of it. So if I do pull up my Russell chart right here, this one actually, no, this one, where did it go? Right here. Okay, so this is the Russell, and actually this is the contract chart. We moved out of this beautiful demand zone as well. Even from down here back in December, we pushed out of this demand zone on the daily. And I would like, if we do have a pullback and we come back to test the 200 or 50 right here, I'm a buyer. I think on the Russell side, we might be turning around as well. All right, so that's what I have. Now let's go through some of the tickers. Okay, so Costco, I'm gonna start with Costco. I cleaned up the chart. We are right in the supply zone. So what I am looking for it is, again, if the market has a little bit more room side of it, I want to see if we reject out of this supply. We are touching it right now, but I want to see if we have a bullish side of it. We clear this, and this is another resistance. So anywhere in here we see a rejection, we are looking to the downside. Or you want a confirmation, we are looking for the 469.14. So if we lose below this level, we have a lot of dark pool prints are sitting at this level. So anytime I have an orange line, I am, that's usually my dark pool print levels. So we do have a dark pool print to the downside of it. So wait for a confirmation. Either you want a nice reject or you wanted it to break off this level. If we are breaking out of this line, 495, I want you to wait for a confirmation of regaining the 200 moving average. Then my aim for is 554. But by then you will also see that your RSI will be way overbought, so it might have a pullback. So keep those things in mind as well. So that's what I have on Costco. The next, this one is setting up actually really nicely. So on Netflix, I did share it in the group. We are right in the 3-day supply. So if Netflix has a little bit more room, wants to touch the top of the supply right here, and you see a rejecting and is not able to get above 345 to 350 area, this is the demand where we will see Netflix come down to it. You don't have to take advantage of the full move. You got some nice gaps right here, even all the way down to the 50 moving average. Either one of them can be your can be the target that where you can take your profits at. Okay, we are actually already in this trade. So it rejected. I'm gonna go to the weekly chart on this one. We rejected on this level twice now, two times in a row, 2 weeks in a row, 53.34. So that is a resistance. As long as we don't get able to get above 53.34, I consider a proper candle close. I don't care if wick goes out. That's not going to take me out of my position. I am looking for a proper engulfing candle closing above, and that will also fill your gap as well, or it's going to reject. That's your next resistance level, 56.78, and then we have a supply sitting right here as well. So if you are in a position, the best way to do is then you can hedge it with a call. Otherwise, if we are losing the 53.34, I have a target on this one, 37.78, or this demand zone in the 32.31 area as well. You don't have to, again, take full advantage of the full move. That's where your runners come in handy. You got the 200 moving average to be take profit as well. All right, next is Square. This thing has been actually moved out of a demand zone beautifully right here. I still think it has a little bit more room, especially with this engulfing candle moving out of it. So if you do see a rejection at the $79.80, then room to the downside. Again, we got the dark pool prints at 64, and you can see the power of the dark pool prints. Look at how strong that move is, right? And if we are clearing the $79 or $80 area, you want to aim, then next is this is supply. Again, you should be buying plenty of time on your contracts, nothing with the shorter dates, please. All right, MasterCard next. So MasterCard is back testing of this supply. Beautiful area. As long as I would say we don't close above 382, I am looking for this one to come down as well. I have a target of 275 to 280 area. But again, we do have a bullish cross with the 50 and 200. You can aim for your first take profit 50 and then second take profit at 200 moving average. We have a beautiful gap on the downside as well. So something to keep in mind. Same thing with Unity. It's doing a back test as well. And when it first got out, it was picked out of this supply zone beautifully. So we are still closing below the 50 moving average. And this, if market is going to the upside of it, watch how we reject from this supply or half of this candle right here. If we are, then my target for this one is 21.22. I'm already in a position, so something to also keep an eye on. All right, next is FedEx. Okay, these are the two levels that I am watching, and 187. Again, if I am watching for a put, I am gonna let them make their move, and then I will take my put. If I'm watching for a call, I am gonna let it continue. I'm not gonna fight to take both sides. I'm not gonna take the put. I'm not gonna take the call. I'd rather do that hedging during the daytime instead of, doing my scalping or day trading on different tickers. Then I can just hedge against my positions. So that's how I like to play, even though knowing it could continue and break this, but ultimately I want to see it come down and test these areas. My first take profit is 164 area and then 153, and then it might be this demand where we take off from it. does have still a gap left here as well. So any of these are rejections and we are not getting above the 200 moving average, a great place to look for a short as well. All right. My last ticker for a short actually is a spot. We are right at the 200 moving average. So you want to watch to see how we react. If we have a solid rejection here, I am looking to the downside, at least to first take profit in this zone right here. So that would be my first take profit area. But we do have a dark pool print sitting right at 87.39 as well. And look at that that engulfing bullish candle right above your dark pool prints is. So they do tend to act as a magnet of a support and resistance levels. So something to definitely watch. So if it rejects from this supply in the 100, 102 area or this 200 moving average, you got a beautiful gap on the downside to be filled right away. Otherwise, if market is really bullish, we are out of the downside of it, then we'll continue to the upside. All right, ENPH, I am looking for this one for a long side. And let's see, why is the chart not loading? Sorry, my chart is not loading, but we are right in a demand zone right here, right there. There we go. And then if we do continue to push through, I want you to watch this 210 level. And this will be and ENPH moves very nicely. Those calls can pay very, very nicely. So something to definitely watch. And then 228 area, if we can cross this, then you got your first supply zone. And if we clear this with an engulfing candle, then you got your next supply zone is up to the 320 area. All right. Next, I got Roblox. So on the Roblox is, again, I am actually bullish, not bearish on this one. I want to see a pullback into this demand zone. We did from the previous demand zone, which I have shared this chart with you guys before. We pulled out very beautifully, but I want to see a small pullback into this demand zone. The pullbacks that I am looking for is actually, I have this one marked even for February 27th. So around this time, I am looking for this to come in this zone right here and then pull back to the upside of it. And I have my targets lined up, looking for 40, 30, 50, 88, and then 50. So those are my targets for Roblox. But I am looking for it to have a pullback. I'm not ready to take a position right now. I want to see a pullback. I have my alerts set on it. So I'm definitely watching this. Next one is Chewy. A lot of the things are falling on this date where we are going to see some sort of a pullback or maybe pull up, who knows. But a lot of the counts are coming up too for this date. So Chewy as well, we have a monthly supply right above there, and we do have a dark pool print at 46.40 and 28.20. So what I want to see is I want Chewy to pull back to the 200 moving average and then bounce, and that would be a beautiful entry to the upside of it. And you can put your stop loss to the low of right here at 33.94 area. The risk to reward would be still better. You also always want to make sure where your stop loss is as well. So if I am and it's not breaking below the 200 moving average and I have a confirmation on the smaller time frames, I will definitely look for a position. But again, my stop loss will be whatever the previous low is. All right, let's look at UNH. This one is pretty interesting. It is right out of the demand zone as well. For this one, I wouldn't mind. What a beautiful candle close on the daily as well. Looking for a swing to the upside right now. However, if we are breaking below, we do have a dark pool prints right at 445. But our next dark pool prints happen to be sitting right at the supply as well. So you can see how big money leaves and big money buys at the bottom and leaves at the top. So And definitely gonna be watching this supply zone, how we react to, how we come to it, and would be my take profit areas as well. But again, you still need confirmations. You just can't jump into, just because it's moving out of a demand zone, you go down to smaller time frames, and that's where you look for your entries. Okay. All right, let's see what we have. Oh, Baba. Baba is at the pretty much at the top, has a little bit more room, 120.63. However, if Hang Seng is looking bullish, then Baba could continue, and I might get stopped out of one of my position that I'm already in a put. So I'm looking at the 130 area if this is where it wants to top off. But if we look at the RSI, we're pretty much quite a bit of overbought as well on Baba, and it has a nice room to the downside of it. But I'm definitely looking for calls if we come down to this area at the 88, and as long as we stay above the 84, because this is where big money bought as well. So as long as we stay above and we come back down, it has a lot of gaps that it needs to fill as well. So if Baba can come down and fill these gaps, I will definitely be a buyer for calls on this one. I missed a few. Let's look at Dell. Again, I want to see have a pullback. And if we can pull back to this demand zone, as long as we stay above 35, 76, that's where my dot blueprint is. I'm a buyer on a call side for this one as well. I missed some. CRM. Okay, another one, CRM. Beautifully moved out of the demand zone as well. And look at the dot blueprints at 132.68, and looks like we are headed toward the 200 moving average. And that's a beautiful candle to be closing on Friday. Again, would love a pullback of a retest and then look for an entry for a call on this one. And I would aim for the next dot blueprint or even the 200 moving average. That would be the aim for it. All right, let's look at Datadog. Same thing. A lot of these things, as I said, the small tickers are kind of pulling out of the demand zone with a lot of volume and a lot of strength. So this one, I might have actually missed the back test, because this seems like was the back test after that run up on Thursday. So if I did, I will patiently wait whenever it has another pullback. And as long as we stay in this demand zone, I'm a buyer, and I'm looking to target this dot blueprint first. And then after that, for runners is usually the 200 moving average. That's what I will look. All right. That's it for this week. I hope you guys enjoy these videos. If you do, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much. I will see you next week, and be safe. Don't give any of your hard-earned money back to the market. Thank you.